This is a 50-30 constructed game played at Guardian Games in Portland, Oregon. Up top is a local player, my friend Sasha, playing an Archimago deck. And down at the bottom of the screen is another local player, my friend Kellen, playing his Deathspeaker deck. Looks like they're rolling off. Kellen rolls a 20. He's going to be on the play. Going to draw up their hands and take a look at mulligans. Looks like Kellen drew a Carleon into a starting hand. That's a great first sight to play for threshold fixing. It's going to give him one of each. This particular Deathspeaker deck is running all 4 elements, so he needs all the thresholds that he can get a hold of. And it looks like he seemed pretty happy with what he drew because he's not taking any mulligans. He also has a tower, which is a great site to get early on. It helps you ramp into what you want early with an extra mana. Sasha, not so fortunate. Looks like he's taking a couple cards to even out his starting hand here. Kellen's going to begin tapping for that Carleon. And then playing out a core. Not a core, playing out a stone. A pretty solid start for Kellen with his mana fixing and ramping. Sasha's going to play a step and pass turn. Kellen tapping for a site. Kellen choosing water for the Valley of Delight. And then no 2-drops, so he's going to pass turn. Sasha, it looks like he's got a pebbled path. Yep, there it goes into the center of the board. It's a great location for a pebbled path. Playing Land Surveyor for the card draw on Genesis, and then passing turn. It's worth noting that in this matchup, the Land Surveyors are going to be additional value for Kellen once those hit the cemetery, as you can recast them with the Deathspeaker. Kellen's third sight is that tower that we saw earlier. He's got 4 mana for turn, plus the discount from the stone. So he's got a lot of mana to play probably almost anything in his hand that he wants. 2 for a blink. And he's blinking his avatar just for the card cycle. And then we'll see if he has anything else in the tank here. He's got a play. Nope. He's going to save it. He's going to pass turn. So unfortunately, he's not hitting the best curve to take advantage of that tower. Sasha playing out a Perilous Bridge. Another good location for the bridge out in the center of the field. Unfortunately, like that also would have been a good turn 2 site placement. But as it is right now, Kellen still does have an attack line in to the Pebble Pass site. Kellen playing an Angel's Egg, getting set up with his avatar here. And Angel's Eggs can be scary when you're playing them in decks. Almost exclusively control decks are going to be playing those. It's hard to overcome the life gain from those eggs. They're going to tick up at the end of every turn, not just their turn, every single turn, every player's turn. Archimago tapping for a Wormload Tump. Again, getting set up on their end. Wormload Tump, a very strong card to have when you're playing a recursion deck that relies on bringing things back from your cemetery. And he does have the threshold to activate that with 3 Earth at the moment. No other plays for Sasha. He's passing turn. Kellen playing out a 4th site, and I believe that's a lighthouse. Kellen playing a Apprentice Wizard for a card draw. I believe that's 2 with the stone discount. So he'd still have 2 mana left plus discounts if he had another play. He does not. He's going to pass. What I was going to say is that Kellen, famously in our area, plays with these hollow foil sleeves on his sites, which kind of are a bit of a trick and make them look like they're foil sites, but in fact, it's just the sleeve that is doing that. And unfortunately, it is somewhat difficult for to capture those on video. They cause a lot of problems with the lights. Sasha tapping for what looks like a 5th site. Here we go. Another Pebble Path. And then playing an Orb of Baal-Bereth, which is a pretty dangerous setup now. He's got the Wormload Tump out. He's got the Orb out. He could start casting spells and like forking them, like doubling them with the Orb. It is a slightly scary prospect when you're on the other side of the table. Kellen tapping for another site. Looks like a Ruins. As far as thresholds go, at this point he's got at least one of each, and he's got 2 of a couple of them in some cases. 5 mana for an Atlantean Fate. Atlantean Fate is going to crunk up Sasha's plans here. It's going to submerge his orb. It's going to remove his land surveyor, get it into the cemetery. Remove all of his thresholds, which is the most, I think, the most harmful effect at this point in time. And then the Apprentice Wizard moves up and attacks for 1. But yeah, now at this point, Sasha, unless he can dispel Atlantean Fate, he has 4 water threshold and 1 air threshold. And then Sasha showing his hand, because this was a casual game. We were just playing for fun that day. And he's lamenting kind of the situation that he's in. That he doesn't know if he can recover from this and reach a win condition. So again, this puts Sasha in a difficult position with Archimago, but it doesn't completely rule him out. Archimago decks, they are typically running Common Sense. They're typically running at least 1 Disenchant or Dispel. So the chances of him being able to kind of find that piece and dispel the Atlantean Fate are pretty high. But definitely the Atlantean Fate throwing him for a loop right now. Looks like he has a Glastonbury Tour in hand. He could play that out. That would be a good start on the road back to building up his thresholds again. And he still does get the mana from the sites affected by Atlantean Fate. They're just now only considered water sites and only providing water threshold. Sasha getting out an Angel's Egg of his own, and that is going to help him tick back up here. So at the end of turn, he'll tick back up to 20 points of health. Still taking a long look at his hand. I thought I saw a blink in there. At this point, I might even just like cycle the blank, try to dig through the spell deck, and try to find something to help you there. Kellen tapping for what looks like another Ruins. That'll bring his total mana base to 6 plus the stone. Kellen's just double checking that. 6 for a Grandmaster to draw 3. And actually 5, excuse me, with the discount on the stone. So he's got 1 mana and the stone is discount. Swing for 1 with the wizard. He's got 1 mana left to play with, plus the discount on stone. And he passed, but I think, looking back at this video now, I think he could have cast the Land Surveyor out of Sasha's cemetery. Wormlow Tump would prevent that, however, he currently does not have the thresholds to activate that ability. Sasha tapping for a Windmill. So again, that'll get him started back here with 2 air and 1 earth. Tapping for a Grandmaster Wizard of his own to draw 3. And since he does not have a discount from a stone, that'll be all his mana, so he's going to have to pass turn. Kellen, it looks like he drew into a Feast of Crows, which is pretty powerful, especially against this matchup. He can, he was already given some information from Sasha preemptively because like I said before, it was a casual game. He calls Crater Eyes. He already knew that he had that in his hand, but honestly, like, there's a very good chance that he would have just called that anyways with Archimago. Especially at this point in the game, when they're both established with eggs, it is going to potentially be a longer control game. It's better to just call Crater Eyes preemptively and remove that piece from him and take out a piece of his end game. Kellen attacking into Archimago for 1, not to do the damage, just to get it into the cemetery so he can recast from the cemetery with the Deathspeaker ability. And I think he just wants more cards. He wants to be able to dig for more cards at this point. One of Kellen's kind of late game win conditions with this iteration of Deathspeaker is he's running an Evil Spirits Nimbus Djinn package. So if he can get enough cards in hand and get the Djinn, he can do like a surprise attack for 21 points of damage on the discard. He would just have to have like 7 cards in hand in addition to the Nimbus Djinn and the Evil Presence. Or actually, I take that back. I think maybe he's not running Evil Presence. Maybe he's running Summoning Sphere in this particular deck. Sasha getting a Common Sense off. I'm sure he's going to find a Dispel. He's looking at it. I don't know why. I feel like at this point you take the Dispel, remove the Unlanding Fate, get your thresholds back, and then you're set up again and ready to go. And then he's sitting at 7 mana base. Yeah, he fetches the Disenchant, he plays it to remove Unlanding Fate. He needs the thresholds back.
You're like one step ahead of me.
But the Unlanding Fate's still knocking the wind out of Sasha's sails here, giving Kellen a couple turns to set up. And again, he hasn't made a lot of plays right now, but he's drawing a lot of cards into his hand, and it is possible. I haven't been able to get a peek at his hand in a while, but it is possible that he's trying to set himself up for a Nimbus Djinn attack here. Tapping out for a Pebbled Path that will bring his mana base up to 7 plus the stone discount. Seven mana for an Earthquake. Earthquake will bury the egg. He's going to do a rearrange to bring Archimago forward, and it's also going to kill off his Land Surveyor and Grandmaster when they burrow. That was 4 mana with the discount from the stone. He should have 3 left plus the discount for any other potential plays this turn. Kellen trying to cast the Land Surveyor, but forgetting that because Atlantean Fate is no longer in play, he now has Threshold again for Wormlow Tump. No other plays this turn. He's going to pass control back to Sasha. Sasha will set up for his turn. Drawing a spell for turn. He's got a good amount of cards in hand, and it looks like he has a Merlin he's debating playing out. Merlin would be a pretty good play. It would give him a lot of card options, being able to look at the top deck on your spellbook and playing it if it's a magic spell. Instead, he's playing out a Glastonbury Tor on the back row. That's going to give him 8 mana. So if the Craterizers were still in the deck, that would put Kellen into the danger zone. But since they were Feast for Crows out of the game, there is less concern with Archimago when he gets to slightly less concern when Archimago gets to this mana base. He still has a lot of mana and still is able to cast a lot of things. Merlin comes out. And I believe he did look at the spellbook, but either couldn't or didn't want to play that card. And he's passing turn. One of the benefits of Merlin looking at your spellbook during your main phase is that at the beginning of your next turn, you know what that card is, and that can help you inform what your deck draw for turn is going to be. Kellen double checking his mana base, playing a Summoning Sphere and playing a Djinn. I think he has just enough to do that with the discount from Stone on one of them. Discarding 7 cards for 21 points of damage to take Sasha to door. Just double checking the math on the mana for that, just to make sure everything's above board here. And recounting 7 cards for 21 points, so just an immediate strike to door with the Djinn combo. He's gonna pass turn. Sasha now in the danger zone here. He is going to have to deal with the Djinn, or going to have to be able to get away. So just taking a look at what he has in his cemetery. He's got to be careful with. He can't even move to an adjacent site that is adjacent to one of Kellen's sites, just because of the threat of recasting a Violimp from the cemetery at this point. And that's what Sasha's looking at right now. That's the greatest threat here. It looks like Kellen has 1 card in hand right now. And I do not know what that card is right now, so I don't know if that is a kill spell, like a magic missile or a lightning bolt. Sasha drawing a spell for turn, using Merlin to look at the top card and putting that back for now. So possibly no help there. Sasha, if he wants to buy another turn here, he's going to need to deal with the Djinn. And there is a direct removal for the Djinn. He's gonna do a Chaos Twister. Chaos Twister, we're gonna use the Chaos Twister card as the stand-in. A foot above the table, and then blowing it off. It has to land on a site in order to kind of resolve here. So they're just discussing again that like it has to land on a site. It cannot land like majority into the void. It is no. Sasha saying he's picking the step. I think he does have to pick that Valley of Delight site. Otherwise, the Twister, when it lands, it is going to do damage to his avatar. He was trying to say that the Twister only does damage to the site. I don't think that's correct. I think it does damage to like everything that's on the site. And then tapping for a Funeral Pyre just to remove the highest level threats from Kellen's cemetery. So those 2 Violamps, which would be a win condition on his next turn, plus Sir Morian, who could flash in two tokens, which would be dangerous to deal with. But it looks like that's all Sasha could do. He's going to pass turn back. Kellen playing a windmill for a total of 8 mana base. Attacking into Archimago to kill the Grandmaster, and then recasting with the Deathspeaker ability from the cemetery. I think he's looking for a kill spell, and looks like he drew it. He drew a lightning bolt for the win here at the end. A good game for Kellen, especially. He drew into a lot of the cards that were really going to help him stall out to late game and set up, and to collect the pieces he needed for that Nimbus Djinn combo. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.